I want to thank the music team and Robin for reading. We are in week 7 of an 8-week series on the 5 agreements, but don't worry, each week is independent and they're all out on our website if you want to go and catch up on ones that you didn't see. Today, we're paying a special attention to the 5th agreement. Be skeptical and learn to listen. Ruiz says not to trust yourself or anyone, and to listen to the intent behind words so that you understand the real message. So we'll be explaining that in just a couple minutes. Each week I ask you, are you willing to examine your beliefs? And I'm wondering this week if you remembered in the past couple weeks to actually look at those 3 stages that are involved in the process of breaking old agreements and setting up new ones that really enhance your life and allow you to live a life that you love. Remember that those 3 things were awareness, knowing who you are, transformation, being willing to change, and intent, being willing to love unconditionally, knowing everything, including your own actions, is either love or a call for love. Today, I ask you to keep all of what you've learned already in mind. The first agreement, be impeccable with your word. The second agreement, don't take anything personally. The third agreement, don't make assumptions. And the 4th agreement, always do your best. And the question for the week is this: what is the one choice you can make today to always use doubt to find the truth and to learn to listen so you find and live in your own heaven on earth? One more time. What is the one choice you can make today to always use doubt to find the truth and to learn to listen so you find and live in your own heaven on earth? So today, as we go about implementing all of what we've already learned in this series, Don Miguel Ruiz offers the 5th agreement, be skeptical and learn to listen. We're going to start with the first part of that agreement, be skeptical. And I want to invite you to consider the gift of doubt. Doubt can be powerful because it allows you to discern the truth. Frankly, when we use affirmations instead of affirmations, it's to bypass that doubt that arises from our minds about an affirmation. The question format of the affirmation doesn't introduce doubt. And when we're listening to ourselves or others declare things about their lives or about our life, having a bit of doubt, a bit of skepticism can often be healthy. A good question to ask when you're listening is this the truth or not? Or is this reality or virtual reality? Doubt requires you to be responsible for receiving the messages that come into your life and to examine them and say, yes, this is part of what I want to put in my book of laws into those agreements that I accept, or no, I know better than that. This skepticism is especially important when you're saying things to yourself like, that was such a stupid thing I did. Or, how could I have been so dumb? Or, I'm not good enough to do that. Or, I'm not smart enough to do that. Or, why is it I look so shabby today? Or anything else that degrades you at any level. There is one caution. I want you to step out of that trap that you're too smart to be gullible, and so you don't have to doubt things because you'll just automatically know the truth, or that you're going to question everything Like most things in life, being skeptical has a balance. Ernest Holmes, in Creative Mind, wrote this: "The individual who has the most power is the one who has the greatest realization of the divine presence, and to whom this means the most as an active principle of his life. We all need more backbone and less wishbone. There is something which waits only our recognition to spring into being, bringing with it all the power in the universe." I don't know about you, but I know in some areas of my life, I could use a lot more backbone and less wishbone. And I also know that it's healthy to have a dose of doubt when people are skeptical about things I'm talking about that I want to accomplish. And it helps me to spring into being and embrace all that power of the universe that's stored in each of us. So let's move on to the second part of that fifth agreement: learn to listen. The type of listening that involves truly being present to what is being said is indeed a form of love. Think about that for a minute. Listening can be a form of love. The thing that is desired by a large number of people is to be heard, truly heard, to feel like someone has listened to what it is they had to say, how it is they feel, and what's important to them. And believe it or not, this type of listening is something we often forget to do with ourselves. We ignore that still small voice within us. We forget to listen to our heart's song. Think about a time when someone was saying something so fascinating that you were totally drawn into every word that they were speaking. I think we've all experienced that. A conversation, a story, a message, a situation in which perhaps a charismatic person captured our absolute complete attention. Maybe like you're a minister on a Sunday morning. Anyway, what do you remember about how you felt? Now imagine yourself as the person speaking. How do you think it feels to have someone be present and tuned in so completely to what it is that you're saying? It feels great, right? We feel cared about and appreciated. Don Miguel says this: "When you learn to listen, you know exactly what other people want. Once you know what they want, what you do with that information is up to you. You can react or not react. You can agree or disagree with what they say, and that depends on what you want." There are times when we're listening to someone and what they have to say does not resonate with us. Their truth is not what we know to be our truth. Is that right for you? This is absolutely fine, because we are each artist on this planet and we're creating our own work of art. Remember, in the meditation, I asked you to watch your life movie, being the director as you listen to your heart. How do you think learning to listen can help you be a better director and create a more satisfying final product for your own life story? Did you actually know that listening is a spiritual practice? I think it's a practice that sometimes is overlooked because we get caught up in doing and creating and conversing with each other, even though we might not truly be listening to that conversation. To deepen our inner life and grow in a conscious awareness of truth, listening is critical. As a spiritual practice, listening takes on a new meaning from that used in our usual daily life, because here we mean not just listening in the general noise of the world, but rather listening with our heart. Think about it. Sometimes when someone is speaking, we're truly just waiting for them to finish or to take a pause so we can interject something. Admit it, we've all been there. Perhaps we have a different opinion about something they said, or we want rebuttal time. This is not listening. This is waiting to speak. One thing you've probably heard me say is that while the ego might lie to you and trick you into believing something, the heart absolutely never lies. To listen with the heart means to listen with one's whole heart and whole being, to be completely present to what is occurring in that present moment. It means listening beyond the words. By being present with ourselves and others, the gift of listening gives us the wisdom of knowing our own mind and allows us to develop generosity, patience, and a loving presence with others. And an important form of listening is listening within. Here's a question for you. When we attune the inner ear to truly listen within our own being, what are we listening for? The answer is we're listening for guidance, for our own wisdom, what we often hear called that still small voice within us that guides us and gives us direction. Listening within is listening with one's whole being. So just for a moment, pretend you could ask one question and have it answered. What might that question be? Take a deep breath and think about that. Now, ask your heart that question and listen for the answer. Taking a question within, we may feel a sensation in the body, an intuition, an urge within the heart, a certainty in the stomach, and deeper, we may find ideas, words, a sense of peace, a certainty about what to do next. Ernest Holmes, in Spiritual Awareness, wrote this: daily we should open our consciousness to the divine influx, expecting greater wisdom and guidance and complete self-expression. We must listen to the inner voice, and it will tell us what to do in the hour of need. We will be told everything we ought to know, and we will not be misled. And by the way, when you asked that question and no answer came, that's fine. Just keep asking, believing that when the time is right, the answer does come. It's a lot like that movie, Field of Dreams. Build it and they will come. Keep asking and the answer will show up. Jesus did say, ask and it's given. He wasn't talking about material goods necessarily, like cars or homes, or although sometimes those actually do show up. He was talking about what we need to know about ourselves and others, so that our life as a human is one that is a life we love living. Remember, though, that like any spiritual practice, the ability to listen deeply develops over time. provided we actually practice. So make it a daily practice for yourself, especially when you're trying to make decisions. Ask your heart and allow all that wisdom and power of the universe to show up, and then listen. So let's talk a little bit about listening to others. I mentioned earlier that the deepest need of a lot of people is simply to be heard. It's really top on most people's list of things they want. In this context, being willing to be patient and listen to others is a spiritual practice as well as a healing gift. To give the pure gift of listening, it's important to give up the need to comment, to have an opinion, to fix, or to argue about anything that's being said. Let me say that one more time. To give the pure gift of listening, it's important to give up the need to comment, to have an opinion, to fix, or to argue about anything that is being said. It is so easy for us to want to put in our 2 cents worth, to judge, to be overly empathetic, or to want to fix something. This is not listening. Remember, all people are divine, and they're entitled to their own individual perspective. Each person lives a life with unique experiences and perspective. By being willing to listen, to simply listen to someone else, you allow that person to find their own way and to sort out their own feelings in their own time, and most importantly, from their own inner wisdom. Listening with your heart in this manner is empowering for the other, because you're holding within yourself the knowing that each person is powerful and has the power to know their own way. In the reading today, you heard Ruiz say this: when the truth sets you free, the symbols you learned are no longer ruling your world. This is not about being right or wrong or good or bad. It's not about being a winner or a loser. We know that you are totally free when you no longer have to be the you that you pretend to be. This freedom is profound. It's the freedom to be the real you, and it's the greatest gift that you can give yourself. And how can you be free if you're unwilling to listen to your own heart or to truly listen with love to what others have to say? I invite you to take some time this week and sit with someone else and let them know that you're just there to listen, not to react or respond. Simply listen with your heart from a place of love and compassion, and be there for them. And then notice what happens. Hear the voice of their truth. Did you know that this is a way you can learn and experience another aspect of God? When the person is finished, not just pausing, sometimes it can be helpful to ask a question or a comment, such as, what do you think you might do about that? Or, thank you for sharing that with me. And if in the course of their sharing, something came up like, I don't know what I'm going to do, when they finish, you might say something like, I heard you say you didn't know what you were going to do. And yet I know you are very wise. And if you ask your inner guide to help you, you definitely can make the right choices. This is listening and encouraging without voicing your own opinion about what they should do. You know, our philosophy teaches at the center of being, we are all one. Practicing listening with the heart and noticing that you discover a new oneness with everyone around you is powerful. Embrace the spiritual practice of listening and find the many ways that it can bless your life as well as the life of others. Ernest Holmes in This Thing Called You wrote this: first of all, you must arrive at peace of mind. It is only on the basis of peace that you can persist with absolute certainty. Peace alone gives poise. There is an intuition within you which already knows that you are one with good, that your destiny is certain, and you must listen to this intuition, for it is the voice of God in you. And not only must we listen to our voice of God within us, we need to encourage other people to listen to their voice of God, not to try to fix, not to try to have an opinion, but allow them to know their truth. So how might you invoke a reasonable amount of doubt and also learn to listen with your heart so as to hear that voice of God in you? So in summary, decide this week to be skeptical and learn to listen. And to do that, remember, see doubt as a gift, allowing you to truly discern the truth. Learn to ask, is this really the truth or not? And invoke more backbone and less wishbone. Listen with your own heart. Remember, your heart always speaks the truth. So remember to listen to your own personal guide. And listen patiently to others without reacting or responding. Avoid commenting or having opinions or trying to fix things. Know that everyone has their own inner wisdom. So your affirmation for this week is this: how is it I so easily and willingly make the choice today to use doubt to find the truth and to learn to listen so I find and live in my own heaven on earth? Make a conscious choice this week to be skeptical and learn to listen. Review your days, and at the end of the day, ask yourself, did I truly listen to myself and others today? And if you didn't, just notice that and observe how you might change your behaviors so that you can get better at that spiritual practice of listening. Remember, when you learn to listen, you know exactly what other people want. Let's pray. So we just take a deep, nourishing breath. We settle into that place in our hearts where we know that divine wisdom, that divine guide, that love that truly guides us to be our best self. We know that we are one with the divine, that all the wisdom, all the intelligence, all that infinite peace and grace and ease lives right within us. And knowing that, we can just settle in. What I know to be the truth is that each of us is being a better listener this week and in times to come. We're learning to actually practice that spiritual practice of listening, and not just waiting to be heard, but listening. I know that each of us is listening to that inner guide, paying more attention to that still small voice within that knows exactly what we want and how we can live a life that's filled with love and joy. So I am grateful. I am grateful to know that the God without is the God within each of us today, right here and right now. And that there is nothing that I need to do or that you need to do to have all of that wisdom and intelligence beaming up from within. So it's from that gratitude that I release these words into the law of mind, spirit, and action, knowing the truth that absolutely we are listening to that heart song and embracing it. And God knows that. It's already said yes to this, that it's already done. So I can just say amen and we can affirm it together. And so it is. And I want to thank everyone as they continue to donate to our community. We are actually actively looking for a place to have live services again. And we will continue our online services with that as well. So thank you. Enjoy our offertory song.